we suffer from limited beliefs about what we can accomplish. We also suffer greatly from imposter syndrome. And that's my job, is to really dismantle all of that. Because the stories that we say to ourselves, even when we're at the top of our game and we've got such great skills and wisdom, and that story that we're not good enough, who's going to listen to me, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too this, I'm too that, that has killed more dreams. And really, the world needs leaders right now, and they need people stepping into their passion and saying, you know what, I am actually really good at this.
Hello, amazing humans, and welcome to episode number 284 of the Game On Girlfriend podcast. Do you hate going live? Is marketing online like enough to make you want to maybe stick a fork in your eye? If you've been feeling that way, I want you to know, one, you're not alone, and two, something's happening in online marketing that not enough people are talking about. And I'm going to call it like the authenticity factor. I think it's so important that we start to understand we have a nose for BS. We know when people feel desperate. We know when things aren't going well. We know when someone is showing up just to show up because they think they're supposed to. Or my favorite thing to always point to, no pun intended, is people pointing to spaces, on Instagram or dancing, just because it's the latest trend. That, I believe, and my amazing guest today, Christine Blosdale, we're both going to double down on this idea that it's not about what's trendy. It's not about looking good. It's about you, and it's about your energy. And if you are exhausted from trying to show up to check all the boxes that someone else thinks you need to check, it doesn't feel good. And I happen to believe that actually is the crux of imposter syndrome. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't actually think you're not qualified. What's happening is you have tried all this time to be what everyone else wants you to be, or to show up the way you think a professional marketer or business owner shows up. And it's not going to work, right? Because we are becoming more and more aware of why things aren't working in marketing. And the number one reason is our BS detector. So if you've been wondering how you can show up in an authentic way and have people really be attracted to you, and not in the markety, I'm going to call it the white broligarchy way, but in like, hey, I have this amazing thing and I think I can help way, this is going to be the episode that's going to help you get there. Christine Blosdale is the expert authority business coach. She has over 25 years of experience, and she's recognized as an expert in motivating and inspiring others to share their unique gifts with the world. She's successfully guided more than 500 business owners, coaches, authors, and nonprofits in developing and expanding their brand and business, helping them achieve magnificent growth and success. She's also a 5 times #1 Amazon bestselling author and audiobook producer, with notable works including The Social Media and Branding Survival Guide and Podcastonomics. Her books have empowered countless entrepreneurs to build thriving online presence and to leverage podcasting for business growth. One of the things I think you're going to really love about this episode is Christine's kind of origin story. And it started when she was very young, and she would help her mom kind of get dressed for work. And I want you to listen from a perspective of what naturally falls out of me. I want you to really dive in deep for yourself on this episode. What comes out of you naturally? Because I have a really profound belief that you were given your talents and expertise so you could make a living using them. I don't think you were given your gifts and talents. You could give them away for free and hate your day job. And what Christine has done here is really look at what naturally fell out of her and how she could turn that into a career for herself, but also the magic, the influence, the money, the wealth, the power that actually presents out into the world and keeps magnifying. If you've been feeling stuck about how to market and how to show up just as yourself, you're going to want to pop in those earphones, and let's get to it. Christine, welcome to the Game On Girlfriend podcast. So excited you're here from the other side of the world. How cool are we that we get to do this?
I know, we are lucky, and I'm very happy to be on Game On Girlfriend.
I love it. I love it.
Love your show. Love your show.
Oh, you're the best. You're the best. Well, listen, I have really loved getting to know you, right? Poking around in all your stuff, learning more about what you're doing. And I have a pretty strong sense that you're pretty incredible. And there's a lot of things on planet Earth that Christine could be known for. And there's so much that you could have done with your life. There's so many other avenues you could have gone down. Why, out of all of the things on planet Earth,
Mm.
is this what you do?
You know what? I think because I've always been a teacher or a natural born teacher. I wanted to be a teacher. I went, after school, I went to college and, said, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to help kids. And then I got out and they said, we're going to pay you this amount of money and we're going to send you here. And I went, hell no, I don't think so. But my whole trajectory has always just been about really helping people. And I love it. And because I like to learn, I'm a creation machine. Like, I mean, I love writing books. I love creating videos. I love creating podcasts. I've got 3 podcasts on my own.
Oh,
You name it. I love creating. Right. And I see in people, and part of it's intuitive. I'm not Cleo looking into a crystal ball, but I use my intuition when I'm working with clients to see their expert authority, their gift. And if they're not conveying that in a real clear way, as a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs do, then they just need help in getting the word out, the message. And so I like to zero in on that the superpower, and then get the message out about their work. So I've loved doing that for forever. And my career has taken me all over the place. I worked for America Online, which was a very interesting job because I had to basically write content that would be appealing to an 8-year-old and an 80-year-old. And if you're familiar with the Shrek movies, right? Kids loved Shrek, but also adults love Shrek. Yeah. And so I kind of Shrekified my content so that all different kinds of people would enjoy it. And that was a really great training ground for later on what I was doing, coaching and the podcast and all that stuff. But I think that's what I'm passionate about, is zeroing in on people's expert authority. And even if they don't know it yet.
I love that. So, okay, first of all, can we just talk about the fact that you turned Shrekify into a verb? I'm very happy about this.
Feel free to use that.
Rewind, stop. That was amazing. And I just changed into a green shirt right before we got on air, and I must have felt your Shrek vibe. That's hilarious. But it sounds like you pull out your superpower, is that you pull out the superpower in others. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really been an instinct in you your whole life.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has. And ever since I was little, I mean, I remember my mom, child of divorced family, right? Living with my mom. My mom, they didn't have a lot of resources for women back. I'm quite a bit older than you. And so there were no real support mechanisms for women back in the day. And so my mom had to work at a bar. And I remember sitting there watching her get ready, and she'd put on her makeup and she'd, start getting dressed. And she would say before she go, how do I look? And she would, because she valued my opinion as a little kid. And I would say, oh, love the hair, love the makeup. Those boots really don't go with that skirt. I don't know. And she'd go, okay, I'll change. Right. Oh. She would never say, no, I'm wearing this. She really valued my opinion. And at a really young age, I think that formulated something within me that, oh, I have value in what I think. And I still, to this day, if I go to a hotel or a spa or wherever, a restaurant, I'll pick out the things that they're doing well, right? And I'll make sure I tell them, or if there's a server that's amazing, I will go to the manager and I will say, this person here rocks it, by the way. Or if there's things that I see that are glaring issues, right? And I will also tell them, but I never go in with the hammer and just say, this is wrong. Same thing with my clients. I never go in and go, your website sucks and I don't understand what it is you're selling. And why do you have all this copy and no video? I never do that. I will go in and I'll say, this I like. You're doing this great. This makes sense. But I would juice this up a little bit. I would change this. If it was me, this is what I would do. And it's a much better way of getting your point across and your ideas. But really, since I was little, I was always supported in my opinion of things. So I guess that's how it all started. My mom created the monster of me.
Well, I don't know, it's a monster. I think it's really freaking amazing. I wish more young people, hello, were like trusted their own voices. I think that's incredible what she did for you. That must have felt amazing to you too, to be like, wow, she listened. And I think
Yeah.
so few children get that, right? Where their voices really matter. And it's really powerful, Christine, what you chose to do with that too, right? Because you could have been just like, "Huh, I'm amazing." But you actually went out and were like, how can I use this to help people be the best they can be? That's pretty damn amazing.
It's just it's a natural, it's like breathing. So it's so, I'm the same with my wife. Like if we go to the mall or whatever, we're shopping, I won't find things for me. I'll find things that will look really great on her.
Uh-huh.
And I'll pick them up and she'll go, "Really? I don't know about that." And I go, "Just try it on." And she'll go in, she'll try it, and she goes, "This is really, I really
Amazing.
love this."
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like amazing.
So
Yeah.
it
So
it
you
helps
do.
it helps
Yeah.
in marriage as well as business,
I
right?
love this. I love this. Well, I think in any relationship on planet Earth, right, friend, well, anyone where someone's ego or emotions are involved, right? If you can like kind of see through the stuff and like be like, oh, you know what's amazing about you? That's
Yeah.
awesome. God, what a gift. And I have to say, Christine, you're really like, I love when I get to talk to people who have really turned what I call their God given gifts or universe given, whatever the belief system is, but you've really taken what's natural for you
Yeah.
and you've allowed that to supply your livelihood. And I
Yeah.
really believe that's why we have these gifts.
And we all have them. We all
Yes.
have that spark. We all have, and it does not matter your socioeconomic background, your society, the culture that, were raised in, the dogmas that are around you. We all have those gifts.
Yeah.
It's just that we need to, and especially as women, we suffer from limited beliefs about what we can accomplish. We also suffer greatly from imposter syndrome, and that's my job, is to really dismantle all of that, because the stories that we say to ourselves, even when we're at the top of our game and we've got such great skills and wisdom, and it's that story that we're not good enough. Who's
Mhm.
going to listen to me? I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm too this. I'm too that. That has killed more dreams. And really, the world needs leaders right now. And they need people stepping into their passion and saying, "You know what? I am actually really good at this and I can
Mhm.
help people." And claiming that is not being in your ego. It's not being, what's that word? Completely bloated with your self
Arrogant.
gratitude,
Yeah. Yeah.
arrogant. It's not. It's just saying, "I am really good at this and I know that I can help people."
Mhm.
Or if I've got a product, let's say, I know that this product can really help people and I believe in it so much that I'll put my state of reputation on the line. And that's really important to encourage people to do. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And you're speaking to something I think is so important. And that is that when we actually tap into who we really are, right? Like not who we think the world wants us to be, or we don't show up the way we think we're supposed to. When we start letting that go because we're honing our gifts, right? We're looking at what we're actually here to do. I found with so many clients, I'd love to know what you think, that actually diminishes imposter syndrome because the reason we feel like imposters is we're always trying to be like everybody else or we're trying to fit into the box,
Yeah.
especially
Compare.
as women, right? That the world wants us to be in. And it's like, well, I don't fit in that box, but you don't want to ruffle feathers. And how many
Hmm.
people told us to keep the peace? And how many people told us this is what a girl does? This is how the lady be a good girl. All those things that we hear. That's actually what causes the imposter syndrome. What do you think
Yeah.
about that? I'd love to know your opinion on that.
Oh, it's detrimental to your own spirit, your own
Yeah.
soul. And the thing is, there's nothing worse than seeing someone who is really talented, who's really gifted, who has a unique, and we all have those unique gifts. But when it's stifled
Mm.
and it's repressed because you need to take care of other people, you need to, it's about other people's dreams. You need to encourage, mothers have gone through this forever, right? I'll push my dreams back because I need to nurture my spouse's dreams, or I need to support them or my children's dreams. And what happens is that you'll reach a certain age, or reach a certain point in your life, and you'll look back and you go, oh, wow, I did all this for other people. But what I could have done is at least tap into those passions that are important to me, and even been, you could have even been a better role model for those kids, right? Or a better spouse
Yeah.
because you're fulfilling what makes you happy. So I think it's important and critical to show our children too that, hey, we can, mom just as well as dad, and mom just as well as the other mom, right? Whatever family we're in, that we have those gifts. And it's a great thing to show kids because then they will in turn go after their passions instead of saying, well, my lot in life is to be, you know, a wife, a stay-at-home wife, mother, and all that stuff. I think those days are hopefully gone,
That's
and
definitely
we
the
can.
hope.
I'm hoping, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm hopeful for that too. I just think I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I do believe there's a massive collective unconscious that, like, this invisible scaffolding around what women believe is possible still. And I think that, part of your expertise from what I'm hearing, Christina, is to really dismantle that because it does feel so invisible. It feels like it's just the way it is
yeah.
inside of our belief systems. And so to kind of work with that and undo that so there is no imposter. You can't be an imposter if you're being yourself. It's not a thing.
And we need more women to come, to come out, so to speak. We need more women to come out, meaning that with their gifts. I have a brand new client here from Australia who's 82 years old, and
I just got
she
chills. Oh,
she's got more energy than some 20-year-olds that I know, but she was one of the first women, well, she was the first woman to go hot air ballooning in Australia, right? In a very male dominated world in the 70s, I guess it was.
wow.
And she created a balloon company, and she's like flown a gazillion miles, on her hot air ballooning. She's almost died 7 times. She was rescued by a pod of dolphins, right?
Oh
Her
my God, what a
stories
life.
are so important. And now in other times we would have said, look, here's an 82-year-old woman. She needs to get ready for the home. She can just rest now in your recliner or your rocking chair, right? And
Right.
your life is over. Now she's just begun. And
Yeah.
so what I'm doing as her expert authority coach is I'm going through and I'm cherry picking those golden moments. Now, what I mentioned are things that I like we're on her media kit, right? We're putting those things in there. We're
Amazing.
saying that she's a vibrant woman who has so much to give, and we're going to get her doing public speaking. We're going to get her on podcasts. We're going to have her doing more books, all that stuff, because she's got a lot to say
Mm.
and to inspire other women. Now, if she just took the role, what everybody was saying you should do at 82, she wouldn't be out there inspiring women and saying, because she's fighting against ageism. She's an
Mhm.
accidental feminist. She said, I never thought I was a feminist, but she said, I just accidentally, it happened that way.
She
So
just listened
there's
to
so many
herself.
more stories like that,
Yeah.
my clients, I love working, especially with my 80-year-olds.
I mean, oh my God, how exciting, how rewarding. It's like we were even saying before we hit record, we were talking about, like, thank God Michelangelo didn't get a day job, right? And not believe in himself. And I had the
Right.
same thought when you were talking about her in her 80s. Thank God she didn't listen to everybody and just sit in a rocking chair somewhere. Like, there's so much wisdom and beauty in there that we all would have missed out on. Right.
Absolutely.
And it's just so important that we unapologetically right, hone that and understand that her just listening to herself made her an accidental feminist. I mean, that is just beautiful.
And working with me, like I've already told her, I said, also, we're going to work on your biopic. It's going to be a featured film, and we're very much in sync. A lot of my clients and I were very much in sync. We only become, it's almost like becoming one mind in a weird way.
I love
But
it.
I said, yes, I said, it's going to be a feature film. We're going to work on that. And she looked at me and she goes, I can't believe you're saying that. And I thought she was going to say, I can't believe you're saying that because that's so out of the question. She said, I've been thinking of the same thing. And I said, and guess who I think should play you? And we both said at the same time, Kate Winslet.
I just got chills.
I
Ah,
know.
that is so cool.
And I
Oh
said,
my
and then
gosh.
you can appear in the movie. You could like Stan Lee does it
Yes.
throughout. You could be a character in there. You could be working at a cafe, or you can at the end, you can have it be the real you with Kate, right?
Oh,
In a hot air balloon. Come on.
stop it.
I
Oh my
know.
God. I can see it, Christine. I see it.
I
I
know.
believe it. We're going to make it happen. Like, that is so exciting. We need more of those stories. There's
Yeah,
so
see, and
many
if she was
beautiful
in a rocking
stories.
chair in an old age home,
I mean,
it wouldn't happen. So
right?
that's what I'm passionate about. I love
Oh,
those moments. I do.
I mean, I get it. And I just want to follow, like, I want to follow that thread all the way through.
Yeah.
Like, so you're making a living honoring your gifts, right? Which is teaching her how to honor her
Her
gifts.
gifts. Yeah.
And what I love so much about this for anyone who's like, oh, it's selfish for women to follow their dreams, all the things you just said, Christine, right? About moms and how women tend to take a back seat to anybody else's needs, is that listening to what can get created when women tap into their truth and their real stories is look at how many jobs that would actually create to build that feature film. How many
Exactly.
lives would be touched? How many other, the caterers, the directors, the architects for the sets, like all the, like what that does when somebody starts to share their own story, it just passes wealth and happiness and a room for other people to express their gifts too. It's just, it's like the
Yeah.
opposite of selfish, right? Because it just
Yes.
creates and creates and creates and creates. It's so stinking cool. Oh my gosh.
Well, because it's like
Oh,
saying you were saying, before we got recording this episode, it's all about energy,
mm,
right? And a big challenge that my clients, some of my clients have, and I have to tell them, is when they come to me and they go, okay, I need to get the word out. Nobody knows I exist. And I'll go and I'll take a look at their website. If they have one, if they don't, I say, get one. But I'll look at their website, I'll look at their social media and their branding and their messaging. And I'll say, for some of them, they have the scent of desperation.
yes.
And the scent of desperation, you know this better than anybody. When somebody is desperate for a sale or desperate to get a client, there's a certain stink. There's an energy that you feel.
Yes.
And as someone who might be interested in what they offer, who might be a potential customer or client, when you feel that, you run.
You may
It's
not
like,
even know what it is, right? You just
yeah,
know.
no,
You're
you just
like,
go,
nope.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just, and so what I try to do is working with my clients, I say that that's permeable. You can feel that. So let's take some steps so that we can get rid of that. Let's spray that disinfectant, right? And get rid of that, because no one wants to necessarily go onto a sinking ship. No one wants to jump on the Titanic knowing that it's going to hit an iceberg and everybody's going to die.
Yeah, no
Okay.
thanks.
We don't want that.
I'll catch the next one.
So
Yeah.
so we'll work on those things. And that is a real game changer for people, because
Mhm.
it flips the script. And instead of it being of like, please, I need some more, the, some Oliver Twist kind of scenario.
Work
It's,
with me.
hey,
Yeah.
hey, I'm here. I'm so confident in what I can do. Boom, boom. And then you bring people into that energy because they just want it. It's like, I just want to have some of that rub off on me.
Yeah.
You want the good stuff to be rubbing off on people, not the desperation, stinky poo.
Yes. And you know,
I can't believe I said stinky poo
I
on a
can because
podcast.
it's what it is. I mean, look, come on, we could say other words, but that's what it is. And that's what it feels like too. You're like, "Mgeh." I don't know what that is, but no, thank you. And you're talking about something I think is really important that I don't think it's an accident that authentic and authority start the same way because I
Mm.
think it's so important. But it is really, I can't wait to dive in on this specific question with you about like really, creating authority and confidence inside of a business because I am like the sales coach, right? Who really says you cannot sell unless you are coming at the situation from a complete sense of wholeness. You can get the
Mm.
sale, not get the sale. It has nothing to do with who you are, right? The money's going to come and go, and we don't borrow our validation based on what's in the bank account. We don't borrow validation. We
No.
generate it,
Uh-uh.
and really sitting inside of that. So as you are teaching women to get rid of the stinky poo, maybe that should be the title of this episode. That is freaking hilarious. But anyway, as we get women to dive in there and clean that out, what do you love to teach people about authenticity slash authority and confidence in business? What do they need to help sort of clean that out?
I would say, looking at the cultural landscape, right? The
Ooh,
socio-cultural landscape. The days of, well, you're much younger than me, so you
not
wouldn't
that much
remember
younger, I
Dynasty.
swear.
But there used to be a show on television
I
called
remember
Dynasty.
Dynasty.
Do you remember Dynasty?
Big hair, gold poofy shoulders. I remember it
Alexis.
all.
Yes, it was. We watched it, and because I grew up really poor when I was a kid, we had no money, and so I would watch it and go, wow, look at the clothes, look at the mansions and the
Yes.
the cars. And we've had that for a very long time where, the whole thing with the Kardashians, right? And so this idea of perfection and just gabs and gabs of money. So that whole dynamic
Hmm.
is dying.
Or dead.
Hollywood, the whole
Yes.
Hollywood, the music industry, all of that, people are taking a look at it and going, whoa, you all have way too much power, way too much money, and your kicks and kinks are getting weirder. And we don't want anything to do with it. So, what's happening though, and this is why TikTok is blowing up, it's so huge,
Mm.
is because people are shying away or pushing away from that dynasty, Kardashian perfection, all
Yes.
that stuff.
Yes.
And they're going towards creators and content creators and speakers and people who are authentic and relatable. If you're authentic and relatable, you're going to draw in your tribe. And
Mm.
that's really what it is. You want to bring in your community, your tribe, right? I can't tell you, there's been a few people that clients that have wanted to work with me, and I just knew that they weren't my tribe.
Yeah.
They're going to be a pain in the butt or don't like their energy. And
Yeah.
so I've just had to say, I'm not the right fit for you, but maybe this person is.
Yes.
Do it classy, but you want to have that energy going out. You want to have that authenticity and that relatability going out so that your people will come to you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because and you can't compare yourself to other people or all of that. So when I tell people, when I tell clients, look, we want to get you creating those videos on social media because you need to get the word out. You can't stay in your basement and think people are going to find you. You need to get out there. And so I'll work with them on how to have confidence on camera and all of that stuff. And I go, well, I did that. I did what you said. I did the shoot in the car while I was eating lunch. And the thing is that this happened or that happened or the camera angle. And I said, put it out there.
Right. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
As a
Yes,
matter of
so true.
fact,
Yeah.
the less perfect you are, the more people are going to be attracted to you. And they go, really? What? But I said, yes, it's true.
It is
And
true.
so that's the thing. And I think also what's going to happen this year and moving further, the idea of being the solopreneur, entrepreneur, I'll take the world on by myself in my silo. That is going to go the way of the dodo birds as well.
Mm.
There'll still be the dynamics of that, and it's great. But I think co-ventures, collaborations,
Mm.
working with others, we as a society, as human beings on the planet, when you go it alone, sometimes it can be a rough ride. But when you join forces with other people, it changes the energy and
There's
you
no
offer the world such a different, recipe. So I think that's key to what's going to be moving us forward instead of that go it alone, I'll work
Yeah.
harder type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's way dead. I think you're absolutely right about that. Like, I don't want to hustle. Do you want to hustle? I'm so not interested in that.
No.
And like, I call it's part of the broligarchy that has taken over the United States. But this idea that like we have to hustle, blah, blah. Nope, no, no. And I think the more that we authentically show up, the more authority we have. Like I said, I think those two words are together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I
And
know.
when you do
Yeah, go ahead.
when you do that, it also takes the pressure off of you so that you're not feeling like you're performing. You feel that you're showing up. And there's a
Yeah.
difference, right?
Massive,
There's
massive
a
difference.
difference. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
it's the
that's the
same.
important thing.
I love what you're saying because it's the same as like the outside validation, right? When we're selling, it's like if you have put your worth, heaven help us all, if you have put your worth on other people's behavior, right? Like you aren't good until somebody like you're screwed. Like, how can you show up as yourself if your whole world only matters if someone else says it's good? You're
And you're
done.
on a
You're
roller
cooked,
coaster.
right?
You're
Yeah,
right.
because
You're on a
you
yeah.
can't stay stable and do that.
No, you're on a roller coaster because you're only as good as your last sale, you know.
100%. Or the
And
last time somebody commented, or the last time somebody said it was not, or whatever. And now you're on the what I call the drug chase, the cortisol dopamine drug chase, right? Because
yeah.
the solid authority, the confidence isn't within you. it's like
It's
dependent
outside
on
of
things
you.
outside of you. And that is, boy, is that a recipe for pain. Holy cannoli.
Yes.
Yeah. No, thank you.
We don't want that. We don't
No,
want that.
no, please. No, please. And I really like what you said about the imperfection. And okay, so I'm gonna spill one of my theories because you spilled yours
Mhm.
that I think is so good, is what I believe is content 2.0. And that is our energy. I just, it's what we've been saying. I think it is, we have a nose now for BS like
Yeah.
never before. Like you're saying,
Yes,
like
we do.
all that,
Yeah.
like, dynasty stuff, right? It's all so transparent and we can spot it and smell it in 2 seconds. And we just know if somebody's energy is good or if they're trying to grab our energy. And those are just two completely different feelings. So I'm so
We
along
are
with you.
seeing it on a grand scale
Oh my
at the
God.
moment. We
Aren't we though?
we're seeing, you know,
Yeah.
it's like someone like handing you a glass of poison and saying, you know, this is the greatest thing. No, really, you need to drink it. I drink it all the time. No, seriously, you need to drink this. It's the best thing, and it's a winner. You want to be a winner. I said a lot without having to say
You
it.
really did. You're like, you really did. But we know that pitch now. We
We
know
know
what that
that
sounds
pitch.
like, right? We
Yes,
know we can
yes,
feel it. And I think I just love that you're helping more humans break through that. And just like, dude, you don't have to put that mask on. Like, just show up. It's fine. And
yes,
then the people who are trying to fake, like they're cat walking across the street or they're trying to make it look at, we can tell that too. It's
yeah.
just so easy now to see, who's showing up as someone real who really wants to help. And I would love to know if you find this too, Christine, but I think the most common phrase I hear from my clients is, I just want to help people.
Mm,
Is that,
yes.
yeah, those are your people too, right?
That's who is naturally gravitated toward me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want,
And that's who I prefer to work with anyway, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah. And so you can feel that in people, right? Like they really genuinely, I mean, they need to make a living too, of course. And they want to
But
show up and help people.
the motivation isn't about the money. The motivation is about serving others, in whatever respect. And I've got people who are authors. I've got one who's a private investigator. She actually investigates missing children,
Oh
right?
my
She's got a
gosh.
heavy subject matter that
Oof.
she deals with. And her job now, her passion is teaching parents what to do if they've got children to keep them safe,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So instead of also just focusing in on the horrific, harrowing things that she has experienced looking for children, she is now empowering parents. Look, you need to do this. These are the warning signs. This is what you need to check on. Because with technology and all of
Yeah.
that,
Oh my God.
so she's turning her passion into helping families stay safe. And she's turning that into a very powerful service that she provides.
It's
So
beautiful.
I love working with her. She's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great, right? I know. I mean, there's these humans, like sometimes you just sit back and go, God, there's so many amazing humans. There's so many people doing so many amazing things. And I'm so glad you're there trumpeting their stories. I'm just so grateful for the
Yeah.
work you do.
Thank you.
And tell me now, because I know you are a big fan of podcasts. Hooray, because here we are. So,
Yes.
what is it that you love about podcasting? What do you feel like it gives people? Someone who might be listening right now, I mean, like, should I start one? Should I not start one? Should I be a guest? Should I not? What is your view on podcasts and how people can really use them to tap into this authority and confidence?
Well, as someone who was in broadcast journalism for 20 years, I know the power of the microphone. I
Mm,
know the power of the art of the interview. And I also know the power of audio. And what I loved about being in radio for so long was that nobody knew what I looked like. They could only hear me and feel me. And so
mm,
if I was talking to someone and they were saying something that they had gone through, the audience could actually feel me, like, you know, take that moment, and there'd be dead air. And I remember the program director would come in and go, "Why is there dead air?" And it's because there was a dramatic. I had to take a moment. I couldn't fill that with stuff. I needed to honor because I was listening, right? And it's such an intimate art form that it's a brilliant way of conveying story and talking about our lives and sharing. And so we can see that we are relatable, that people can relate to it or have empathy for, right? And so I think it's a very powerful medium. And for the first time in human history, we have the ability, to reach millions of people all around the world
Mm.
with a podcast. I, as a podcast host and creating your own show, it's brilliant. It's a great way to showcase your talents, but also as a podcast guest, it's a way for you to reach audiences you couldn't normally reach, and you can meet people. Like I'm meeting Sarah, and now Sarah and we can have this beautiful friendship and co-ventures. I can plug her into things that I'm working on that I think she'd be good at. I can say, hey, did you know there's this opportunity? I think you'd be perfect for it. I'm already thinking about 3 different things that you would be great for, Sarah.
Back at you, sister. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a wonderful symbiotic way of getting outside of that silo, that that little entrepreneur silo, because we can get very isolated as entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs. So podcasting is brilliant. It, look, I can go on and on about it. It showcases you. If you're a guest on a podcast or you have your own podcast, you've got SEO, you've got all your transcripts, you can turn them into blogs. I repurpose content. All of my best-selling books, all of my 5, have been repurposed content from me speaking on podcasts, in webinars, as a host on a show. So I take that content and I can repurpose it into a really fun, readable, fun reading for people. And it's just a great way. And you'd have to pay a fortune before, back in the day, trying to get on air, trying to get your, the word out about what you do. We are reaching a place to how dynasty and Kardashianism is falling the way of the dodo bird. So is programming. Television, people are not watching mainstream television anymore. That's why Netflix was so huge, because you can find the programming that you want, right? And the same thing with podcasting. I can find a podcast about any subject that I'm interested in, and I choose it and I pick it to listen to. So it's a very smart move, both as a podcast guest and as a host.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, I'm biased, absolutely. But I think the other thing I really enjoy is that there's no algorithm. If you're subscribed to a podcast, you're subscribed to a podcast, and you'll find out when the next one comes out. And I just love that. It's just so power. It's like, talk about taking back the power, right? Like, oh, so good. And I just love, I think in this time with so many people working from home, with so much online content, I think people are actually quite lonely. One of my best friends is a really successful YouTuber, and she's like, I can just feel in the comments, like people are actually really lonely in the world. And so I think what a podcast can be, when 2 people are in your ear, or 3 people, right? Or someone's just sharing with you and they're right there with you. There's an intimacy there that is just so beautiful. I really appreciate that you said that. I hadn't thought about intimacy until you said that. And I think it's really important.
Well, especially the power of audio. It's, like I said, and we're recording in video as well, and people can watch this, if it's on YouTube and I love that, right? I do. I love that, because everybody can see how cute I am, whatever. But the beautiful thing about audio and why I love it so much is no one can sit there and judge you like, oh, I wonder why she has that, nose ring, or why is her hair so short, or what is she wearing, or what about the tattoos? All they can do is feel me and hear me and connect on that level, not on the judgmental level of, oh, well, Sarah's wearing a green sweater. I wonder what her necklace, what's on that? Is that a cross, or is that a, Star of David, or what? Right. You know what I'm saying? How people can judge.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think it's just it's an equal playing field, and you just get it off of people's energy and what they're saying. So I love audio. I love podcasting. I love radio. Love it all.
Oh, that's so delicious. I swear to God. And do you not have the best voice, by the way? Hi, can we just talk about that? It's like butter. I'm like, yeah, just say all the things. Just keep I love it. I love it. Well, Christine, I know you have two gifts for the audience. One is your book, and the other is a quiz, which I personally am quite interested in. Can you talk about this?
Yes. So, and I've never done this before. I've written quite a few books, and I've never offered it for free. So I am offering my latest book. It's a bestseller, The Social Media and Branding Survival Guide, Digital Marketing So Irresistible Even Your Ex Will Want to Follow You. So it's a fun read. So it's a fun read. It's not a technical,
Oh, I
you
love the
know,
title.
hoity-toity.
Oh, I love the title.
It's a small read. It's not a huge book, but it's fun. And they're all my marketing and branding and social media tips and tricks that I've used and then I give to my clients. Most of them are all free. Some of the software that I use, things that I recommend are in the book. And I would love to give that as a gift to your wonderful listeners.
Thank you.
And then if they wanted to, because, I'm all about helping people establish their expert authority
Mm.
or at least amplify it and get the word out about what they're an expert at, right? And so I have a scorecard. I have a quiz that you can take. It's super easy. It's a couple questions and you can rate your expert authority-ness, if that's even a word.
I think it is now. Yes.
Yes. So you can find out where you're at in your expert authority, how you come across, and then find out different ways, if you're not there yet, what you can do to get there. And it's super easy, super fun. And that's at expertauthorityquiz.com.
Oh my God, so good.
Expertauthorityquiz.com.
Oh, you guys, listen, we are going to have those links, both of them, underneath this video if you're watching on YouTube, and they will be in the show notes if you're listening in. Christine, this has been such a joy. Yeah.
Also, if people want to talk to me, because don't be shy. I don't just say, oh, she's cool. But I can't talk to her because just reach out to me. You can go to my website, expertauthoritycoach.com, expertauthoritycoach.com. Reach out to me. I offer a free chat. So you can tell me, I'm in my basement and I'm in my silo and I really need to get out. Help me, send the bat signal out, but reach out to me and tell me. And also tell me that you heard me on this amazing podcast, because then that also gives feedback and I can talk to Sarah and say, hey, there was somebody that actually took action and contacted me. And it's a good feedback loop as well. But thank you, Sarah.
Oh my God, Christine, I could just talk to you all day. Like, do you guys feel her energy? Like, oh my God, what an amazing human you are on the planet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really, thank you for being with us. And thank you for everything that you're doing on planet Earth to help more people tell their stories and share their expertise. It's beautiful.
It's my pleasure. You keep doing what you're doing, girl. You're good.